In British politics today, few figures spark as much division as Kemi Badenoch. Positioned as a future Conservative Party leader, her rise has been meteoric, unapologetically combative, deeply ideological, and fiercely aligned with the political right. But her recent remarks on immigration, especially illegal migration, have ignited fresh outrage, particularly among the very communities she is often expected to represent. In a televised interview with GB News, Badenoch didn't hold back. She said in no uncertain terms that she would deport all illegal migrants, including women and children. And she didn't stop there. She added, "We must go further than Nigel Farage and deport women and children." Image source: The Telegraph UK, 28 August 2025, used under fair use for commentary. This wasn't a vague remark buried in political jargon. It was a headline, a direct quote, and a deliberate choice. Kemi Badenoch had drawn a hard ideological line in the sand. She would not only uphold current Tory policy, she would escalate it. She would push past Farage, a man who for decades has defined the hard right of Britain's immigration debate. Her statement was more than political positioning. It was a provocation, and it hit home. Because for Britain's Black, African, and Caribbean communities, immigration is not a theoretical issue. It's lived experience, it's family history, it's trauma and triumph. And Badenoch's stance, especially the inclusion of women and children in mass deportations, feels to many like a betrayal, not just of people, but of values. Yet Badenoch went even further. In another interview, this time with Sky News, she attacked Nigel Farage for copying conservative immigration proposals.
Nigel Farage has unveiled his if reform were to win the next election. He claims men, women and children would be deported if they entered the country illegally.
The fact is, Nigel Farage is copying our homework. We put out a deportation bill in May. The stuff that actually works and what he said has come from there. But the truth is, he is not doing the thinking, we are. And just like we've seen with the Labour governments who didn't do their thinking in opposition, there'll be a disaster in government and in particular, a disaster on the economy.
Video/text source Sky News, used under fair use for educational commentary. With this statement, Badenoch did more than defend her stance. She took ownership of it. She didn't just support deportations. She wanted to be credited for designing the blueprint. And that's where many in the diaspora draw the line. Because here's the contradiction. Kemi Badenoch, a politician of Nigerian ancestry who spent part of her youth in Lagos, has repeatedly distanced herself from her African identity. She has said, "I am Nigerian by ancestry, but not by identity." She has also spoken critically about Nigeria, often in tones that sound more dismissive than constructive.
Compare this to Barack Obama or Rishi Sunak. When Obama visited Kenya, he spoke of his roots with affection, while still challenging the country on corruption and human rights. He found a balance, pride without romanticism. Sunak, as a proud Hindu, visited a temple in India with reverence, without needing to deny his Britishness. They both found a way to embrace dual heritage without contempt. Badenoch, by contrast, seems to wield her origin story like a political tool, invoking it when convenient, discarding it when inconvenient.
And these contradictions don't stop with identity. She once claimed, boldly, that Britain is the safest country in the world for Black people. Yet more recently, she alleged that she's been mistreated and discriminated against because of her race. One moment she's dismissing racism as overblown. The next, she's citing it as an obstacle. This isn't clarity, it's contradiction. For many in the African diaspora, these inconsistencies undermine her credibility. But the immigration stance, especially the deportation of women and children, cuts the deepest. Let's make this real. Imagine a Zimbabwean woman fleeing gender-based violence. She arrives in the UK with her 2 children, overstaying her visa because returning home would mean danger or death. She finds informal work, volunteers at her local church, and her children grow up in the UK school system. They speak English with local accents. They have friends, roots, memories. Under Kemi Badenoch's proposed policy, they would be deported. No exceptions, no mercy. Is this what leadership looks like?
As Julius Nyerere once said, the African is not against discipline, but he resists injustice. And that's the heart of it. Badenoch's proposals are not framed with nuance or compassion. They are blanket policies designed to appear strong. But strength without mercy is just cruelty. According to data from the Office for National Statistics, most undocumented migrants in the UK arrive not by small boats, but by overstaying legal visas. These are students, visitors, and workers whose paperwork lapses, not criminals sneaking across borders. Yet Badenoch's proposals don't differentiate. They target everyone, including families, including children. In African community centers, WhatsApp groups, and churches, the backlash is growing. The sense of betrayal is real. Many once celebrated Badenoch's rise, proof that someone from our side could reach power. But now, the sentiment has shifted. As one British Ghanaian mother told us, she may have our skin, but she doesn't speak for our spirit. And perhaps that's the lesson here. Because representation without advocacy is empty, and power without principle is dangerous. Kwame Nkrumah warned us, the independence of a nation means little if it forgets its people. In the same way, the success of an African-descended politician means little if she turns her back on the very communities whose struggles shaped her story. We must ask, what kind of legacy is Kemi Badenoch building? If her political ascent is defined by punishing the powerless, by deporting mothers and babies, by out-Faraging Farage, then no title, no cabinet post, no future premiership will redeem that history. Because history remembers not just the winners, but what they did with their power.
Do you think Kemi Badenoch's deportation plan is strong leadership or a betrayal of African values? Should any immigration policy ever justify deporting children? Let us know in the comments below. If this video made you think, if it challenged or affirmed your view, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, share with someone in your community. Subscribe to the African Reset for more content like this. Leadership isn't about forgetting where you came from. It's about remembering why you started. This debate isn't about left or right. It's about right and wrong. And that's why this conversation matters now more than ever. Until next time, this has been the African Reset.